showing you the Mutant Rimshot. The Mutant Rimshot is a 3-oscillator rimshot and clave generator available as a eurorack module. This will be a technical demonstration, so I won't be doing anything too musical here, but hopefully you get an idea of the features. So without further ado, let's get started. So like the other Mutant Drums, the Rimshot has a drive parameter. This controls the overall level of the rimshot. It can go from clean tones to fairly saturated, depending on the other settings on the module. The rimshot has a pitch control, and there's a CV input for that. This controls the pitch of one of the 3 oscillators inside of it. The effect can be quite subtle or fairly obvious depending on the other settings on the module. The rimshot is also a clave generator. There's 3 modes of operation: rimshot high, rimshot low, and clave. The rimshot is coupled to a state variable filter with high pass, band pass, and low pass settings. The resonance is adjustable, and the cutoff is as well, with voltage control. The overall volume envelope of the rimshot is controlled with the mod decay. We've called this the mod decay because in addition to controlling the overall volume decay envelope of the rimshot, it can also be routed to the VCF cutoff. By default, this is selected with a jumper on the back from the factory, but you can also switch it so the sine wave from the voltage controlled oscillator in the rimshot can also modulate the cutoff. So to show you the self-oscillating filter, let's go into low pass mode. Turn the resonance right up. Turn the decay up. And allow that to start modulating the cutoff of the filter. You can create some pretty zappy sounds like this, and what makes it interesting is that the filter's self-resonating sine wave is actually mixing with the main clave generator or rimshot. The reason why we hear the filter self-oscillating at different points is because I have an accent pattern going into the accent CV input. Let's take that away and just hear it self-oscillating. So you can actually coax some bass drum sounds out of this. As I mentioned before, the Mutant Rimshot also has a clave mode. You can switch it into clave mode by flicking this switch over. Let's add some pitch modulation to that. Like many of the other Mutant drums, the Mutant Rimshot benefits from having an input into the module. In the case of the rimshot, it has a VCF input. This is in parallel with the rimshot. In other words, when you plug something in, it doesn't replace the internal rimshot tone. The nice thing about that is that you can use the drive control to silence the rimshot's generators and simply use your external input, if you like, to go through the filter. Now that I've kind of walked through some of the basic features, let's get a little bit weird with adding some external sounds into the VCF input. So for this sound, we're going to plug in a Jupiter storm to the VCF in and hear what that sounds like. So as you can hear, this is just the Jupiter storm because the drive on the rimshot is down. But if we turn that up, the rimshot comes back into play. You can get some pretty interesting sounds combining external sources with the internal rimshot generator, and they're both subject to the mod decay envelope. Things get pretty fun when you start modulating the cutoff and other parameters using audio rate modulation. That's what I've got going on here. So wiggling the cutoff. So fed the Rimshot into a voltage controlled panner and fed an audio rate signal into that. Bringing some reverb in. So now that we've heard what the Rimshot sounds like on its own, let's start mixing it into a composition.